Pinocchio. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, who's done so many things.
I feel like him and Spielberg were kind of on like a parallel path, except Spielberg realized, oh, I can make good movies, and Zemeckis is like, nope, other way.
Welcome to Marwen.
God damn,
Allied.
dude.
The Witches, the new one. A Christmas Carol. Disney's A Christmas Carol. Beowulf. The Polar Express. Kirk Minahan. Kirk told me he thinks that the Polar Express, it wasn't ruined his career. What did he say? I gotta see what
It
Kirk
had such
said.
a long-lasting effect on his career. Like, because he's like, oh, I like this. I'm just going to do this forever.
Right. That's basically what Kirk said. He said, I feel like the success of Polar Express changed him. He got way into this world.
You know, that's what I've said. He's had this 20-year boner for animation. Now, I just got out of the bathroom, so when you guys said it ruined his career, I thought it was Kirk Minahan saying the Polar Express ruined my career.
Oh, no, yeah.
that
The Polar Express ruined Kirk Minahan's career. That'd be a fun rumor to start. But he's done other movies. He's done Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which was an incredible
That was innovative,
integration
though. That was like,
of animation and live action. Castaway.
good movie.
Some people like Flight. I don't love Flight.
I like Flight.
I think it's underappreciated. Like, it's not bad, but it's just certainly not great.
But he's also done Pinocchio.
Correct.
This is just it's not a remake, though, and that's part of my problem.
It's just Pinocchio.
Pinocchio on Disney Plus. Tom Hanks in the lead role. Cynthia Erivo plays the fairy. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Jiminy Cricket. Luke Evans is in it. Boy. The original Pinocchio. We'll talk about where we have it. Ken Jack, you have the original Pinocchio rated at 78. I have it at 84. I rewatched Pinocchio actually over the weekend. I kind of felt it was important to rewatch it. It's also only 88 minutes. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to rewatch Pinocchio. I've watched it in a long time. Probably give some good context. Lonely Toymaker Geppetto has his wish answered when he gets a fucking puppet that talks. There's a lot more. Look, this movie, the new yes.
You can wish for anything in the world.
Fuck this movie. This movie stunk.
Whoa.
This movie was the original Pinocchio is a delightfully made movie. It's still not my favorite of the Disney animated. I know some people hold it in much higher regard than I do. But I still think it's good. I gave it an 84. The new Pinocchio is.
It's hard to talk about.
I got to put in context here. Some people like this movie. I want to note that. I want to note that there are some people who like this movie and who were like, it's not that bad. It's not the worst Disney live action. I think this is, let's see, let me give you the exact one. This is absolutely bottom tier, and I would say it's the fourth worst Disney live action movie, ahead of only 102 Dalmatians, if you count that.
Definitely counts.
Dumbo and Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Oh, man,
actually,
Wow.
technically, it's the second worst because Alice Through the Looking Glass was a sequel and 102 Dalmatians was a sequel. So we're talking about the OG remakes. I have it. It's bad. There's some redeeming things in there. Some of the things look good in some spots. I think some of it looks good in some spots. I think the CGI that works the worst, though, is Pinocchio, which is a problem.
What was going on with his eyes?
The reviewer Dan Merrill said it the best. He said it's got a really bad uncanny valley thing going on here.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem to fit. It's a bad movie. Do I think it's...
Zemeckis.
Yeah. Do I think it's bottom of the barrel of the year? I do not. It's a 43 out of 100. It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie. I think there's significantly worse movies.
You think this is better than Maleficent?
No, I don't. Maleficent.
Oh wait, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Sorry, I got the rankings.
No, this
pulled
is
up.
Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
Yeah,
That's what you're looking at.
My bad.
No, I will say this too. We talk about making changes to these movies. Aladdin made a couple small things. I think that ended up working out nice. This movie made changes.
Forged an identity.
This movie made changes that were fucking horrible. They changed so much. The ending being the biggest thing. I'm not sure they didn't run out of money.
It does just kind of end.
Yeah.
Which I get if the idea is to have it more imaginative and like leave it open for interpretation. Because if you don't know, at the end of spoiler alert, if you're bothered by this, fuck you. At the end of the movie, the new one, he just kind of walks off into the cave with Geppetto.
Yeah.
Which is the animated. He becomes a real boy.
Right.
Which that's a very definitive ending.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a better. The changes to this movie, the music they cut, the scenes they changed, the things they said differently. This movie was stupid. 43 out of 100. Ken Jack.
I think this is a very rare movie, like almost one of a kind, in that it's like the only movie that is not bad and yet a massive piece of shit. Like a truly massive piece of shit. And I think if you want to kind of break it down, the positives and like what makes it okay is like the voice acting is fine. The effects are like the CGI is like okay in spots. I think when they had to do a mesh, it didn't work that well, like the mesh of the CGI next to a live action shot. And I think it's definitely Pinocchio. Like it's hard to deny. Like, yep, that's the talking puppet. But the negatives is that there's just no objective to this movie. There's none at all. It's just a very expensive remake with nothing to say. And now in my brain, it exists as like just basically a cultural impact void. Like because the original exists, right? In the original movie, and like does every single shot for shot thing better than this movie? Like there's just absolutely zero impact for this. It's almost like the movie never existed in my head. Like this movie it never actually happened in my brain because there was no point. It's a waste of time. And I think the biggest comp with this one is going to be probably Lion King because like Lion King, I think they were very heavily invested in the CGI aspect of it, obviously, and they were more shot for shot than this was. And again, I appreciate when they try to make some bigger swings for the fences. I don't think this really tried that, other than like the ending and like making some bad edits to what and stuff from the original one. But man, it's a waste of time. And like if you're gonna make a live action recording of a big Disney property, just have something to say. And like in my head, it almost reminds me of like when they were like re-released remastered versions of like Grand Theft Auto or Skyrim or whatever. And it's just the same game, just slightly dressed up. Like there's no point. There is no point for this movie. And when you have absolutely nothing that you want to really truly alter and like add to the story or vision of Pinocchio, there's no point. This movie did not exist. Pinocchio never happened. And that's my final stance on this movie, which I'm giving a 35 again, because the technical aspects of it are fine. It's just in the meta sense, this movie is a waste.
The crown jewel, I think, remains Jungle Book, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think Jungle Book made the appropriate changes, the appropriate decisions, and it just worked. And I just don't know if anything else has come close to that.
I really liked Cruella.
I like Cruella too, but Cruella But you could also say
it's not really a remake of.
You could also say it doesn't count.
Yeah,
because it's not.
It's not a live action prequel,
yeah.
Right?
Like, they had the room to do their own thing.
The Cinderella with Lily.
Lily James. Lily James, directed by Kenneth.
That one is not terrible.
Yeah,
not as bad
I
as
would
it
say
could have been.
it's got some moments that are good.
Chris. Sorry, say your score again, Ken Jack.
35.
Okay. So I did not like it. That's unfortunate for me. I've lost already. Ken Jack in the lead with 35. Chris.
What's weird is while watching this, it was everything I expected that it would be. And while watching it, I didn't like it at all. You could say I hated it. There's been certain things here where
We're losing you, Chris. Hold on, Chris. We're losing you.
Yeah, try
Can
again.
you hear me now?
Maybe. Yeah, seems a little bit better.
How am I coming in?
Pretty blurry, Chris.
You're blurry, but we can hear you at least.
All right, keep.
Let me refresh.
All right, Gooch, you go. He's gonna refresh.
Yeah, I'm coming in at like a 30. I don't want to give it too exact of a score. It was just bad. I did not enjoy watching. There was like parts where I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. You watched the original recently.
Yes.
I honestly can't remember anything from the original. Probably saw it when I was a kid. Don't remember much out of it. Was there a little Jewish Italian kid dressed up as a chimney sweeper in the original? Kept calling him Slats. Slats. What you gonna do, Slats? He's like, what was that accent?
Fucking Jiminy Cricket calling him Pinocchio. Like,
Pinocchio.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I guess the way you described it, I guess I didn't make that connection. There is, but he's.
That kid was. I hated that.
The
kid
Jewish
so much.
Italian kid kind of threw me off. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's like a little fedora wearing redhead. Yes. Little fedora wearing redhead guy.
Okay. because they're like, let's get an Italian for this Italian movie, and they got a
Yeah, the
Jersey
one.
Italian.
Okay, all right. You threw me off there. Yes. A lot of changes, though.
Did not love that. When I'm just gonna point out some parts that made me laugh, to be honest. When the circus, the guy who ran the circus, took Pinocchio up by the head and just threw him like
was
100
funny,
miles
yeah.
per hour into the cage. Died laughing at that. The CGI at points looks awful. They CGI'd
Yeah.
Luke Evans into a scene.
That was
A full body,
very
and-
noticeable.
Very noticeable. It looked like when I say PS2 cutscene, it didn't even look like a PS2 cutscene. He wasn't even moving correctly. His body was like what is it? Like strafing across the ground.
Yep.
Like it was so bizarre. The ending, like you said, Jeff, it just ends. The movie just ends.
It's just such an egregious decision. I think whatever. I get it. If you want it to be an ambiguous and imaginative for kids to like think about, he's like, because he says like it's a rumor. He could be a real boy, right, or something like that. A rumor he turned into a real boy. I forget what the exact quote was from
Yeah.
Jiminy. And like I guess leaving it up for interpretation, but it just felt like it didn't feel like a natural ending. Which, by the way, that's a big thing for me. I will always destroy a movie on points if the ending feels incomplete. Also, I was at one of my friends at the beach reading The Snowman recently, by the way, and I got a chuckle out of
Apparently,
that.
again, great book.
She hated the book, and I said, well, you should see the fucking movie.
Yeah.
I go, you ate the book. Harry Hole, I forgot was the name
Harry
of the character.
Hole,
But
yeah.
Is that,
anyway,
is that the movie
Fast
about Tom Hanks' character in Elvis?
Oh, god damn, I forgot about that, man.
anyway, yeah.
Jesus.
Snowbish.
So you'd have it at 30.
Snowman has Elvish?
Yeah, just some. I'm trying to think of like other parts that were just like, what the fuck is going on?
Did you watch it last night?
Yeah, I
you
watched
watched
it
the Bengals
after
game,
the
and then you
Bengals
had to
game,
watch
and then I was like,
Pinocchio?
I can't watch any more football. Jesus.
Chris. So
All right.
Chris, you left off saying when we refresh your internet that it was
Yeah.
everything you sort of expected.
And so while watching it, like there's been certain movies I've watched this year where I felt physical pain waiting for them to end. I didn't feel that way watching this. I was mainly just bored. But as time has gone on, I finished watching it last night. I've come to like it less because the word is there's just soulless, empty,
Yeah.
hollow. It's these key words that come up often when we talk about these Disney live action remakes. Like I don't dislike the Lion King remake, and I don't view it as soulless. I view it as misguided. I view it as, I usually don't like using this terminology, but unnecessary. But I think that there was so much effort put into the look of the film, the CG, some of the voice work.
Dude,
It
that
didn't really
CGI
need
cat
to.
looked so bad.
Right.
Oh
Well,
my
that's the thing is
God.
here, this movie, it looks cheap. But even it's just empty. It's just hollow. It's just a nothing burger of a movie. There's one thing I did like about it, and I got to give this guy credit. I wouldn't have known in a million years that was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Like,
Yeah.
So I will
Agreed.
give him credit for the fact that he was very unrecognizable as Jiminy Cricket. But I mean, dude, this is one of those movies you knew right away it was bad. The first 10 minutes, Zemeckis turned on a camera and just told Tom Hanks, do things. Like it was just him walking around like a buffoon. I mean, this is a minor complaint, but the one thing about Pinocchio that's always bothered me is like there's a puppet without strings walking around like a human being, and everyone just accepts. Yeah, this is the thing. It's fine. Yeah, it's just a guy. Like no government experiments. No holy shit. What is this freak of nature? It's just there. But I mean, the biggest complaint is the story is just unengaging. It's uninteresting. Luke Evans to me, and maybe there's a something I've missed with him, his filmography. That guy to me is just one of the least charismatic actors alive.
You don't like Luke Evans?
I think that
I'm not like, by the way, I'm not like saying I'm like a Luke Evans stan, but I just didn't see a Luke Evans
Well, no, I'm
shot
just
coming.
curious.
He was
What-
great in
what-
Distillation of Smog.
Yeah, he does get a lot of like huge, weird.
Yeah, you are right. I actually don't hate that take,
He has
Chris.
Beauty and the
Well,
Beast.
but
He has
no,
The Hobbit. He
The
has
thing
like.
is, there's certain actors I'm not crazy about, but who have given a really great performances. What's his big like claim? What got him
question.
famous? What was it?
It's a great question. I feel like I've seen him as side man, like a side type of dude in a couple things, but like I don't know
Right.
what.
So
else
he was
is.
he was Dracula, which was terrible.
That was a bad movie. Dracula
He was
Untold.
Gaston, which was terrible. He's in this, and he's terrible.
Oh man,
He
I'm
plays
just,
Owen
like,
Shaw in the Fast and Furious
sure
franchise.
does.
You're proving my point.
Oh, he's in
Like,
Murder
it's-
Mystery with Adam Sandler. I forgot about that.
Right. It's I don't understand his appeal at all. And so every time he shows up in a movie, I'm like, well, this movie's worse. And ultimately, yeah, I just think it's a lame, uninteresting movie. It makes me sad that like all of us, because we're close to the same age, we grew up in the era of the 2D animated Disney movie. And whether you like those movies or not, and they range in quality. I'm not going to say that, Hercules is not in the same camp as Beauty and the Beast, but all of them were inspired and they had real animation and people behind them that were really trying to do something special. And here, this is just, it's print, copy, paste the movie. In my opinion. So because of that reason, yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know, a 30. I mean, it's just so forgettable. It's just so uninspired.
It never
and
existed,
lazy.
man. I
truly think Disney needs a new Alan Menken. Like, that's really what it was. Like, the music is what really drove those 90s animated movies over the top.
So much less fairy in this movie, by the way, which was so odd.
It was weird. I thought she was going to come back at some... She just goes.
And they used Cynthia Erivo as like a huge prop for this movie. They were like, come check her out,
she's gone.
She's there for 5 minutes. She literally shows up to sing the song.
Yeah.
She's gone.
They had her. They were like, "Can you sing this song for us?" And she's like, "Yeah." They're like, "All right, just show up on set one day."
I view, like, again, The Jungle Book is a great companion to another really solid animated movie in the animated Jungle Book, and I think it's something that you can show. Look, it's tough. They're doing these to make money. Fine, whatever. But like, you can show the Jungle Book to a kid, and then show the animated Jungle Book, and I think they'd enjoy both. And I think they get their point across. I think they're both charming. They have the things that are great in them. That's the only one that's truly done that, I think. I think Beauty and the Beast came close, but had like... It came close.
It definitely had the sheen of like something that... It didn't have the same sort of like...
The music was a big thing.
Music rocked.
It was one of the few times the music has, I think, translated great.
Yeah, really, really good in Beauty and the Beast.
I think, unfortunately, Jafar brought down Aladdin. Jafar was such a meek, measly guy. And Jafar is such a...
Too young.
He
was like a hot Jafar. It should have been like a really like ugly and like crooked old dude.
I think that hurt that movie.
Yeah.
But other than that, if we're talking about the straight 1v1 remakes, it's just it's tough.
Yeah, can I throw out one more thing about this too that I didn't want to forget?
This shot looks like
there's.
He's not even looking at
I hate the pop culture references. I hate the fact that the word influencer is used in a Pinocchio movie.
Yeah, and like the opening like 10 minutes too.
There's a Chris Pine reference.
Oh my God, that's right. Thank God you said it. Thank God you said it.
Come on, it's
who
just,
is that for?
Yeah,
it was. Well, no, it's
the kids
that
movie.
same
Like who's
principle.
that aimed at?
It's that same principle that a lot of animated movies use, not Pixar necessarily, where it's like, well, we got to appeal to adults by subtly, sneaking in some, something that the adults can laugh at. It's just like, it reminds me, this is a weird comp, but like when I think back to like Spielberg's West Side Story and just how that movie was so sincere in the era in which it was set in, this feels like, when does this even take place? But like what era exactly?
Turn of the century or something?
Yeah, sure. Like let's say the 1900s, and you're throwing in modern day references. It for one, it immediately dates the movie because 20 years from now, everyone's going to say,
"Who the fuck is Chris?"
Oh yeah, Chris Pine's still around, I guess. Yeah. Like he's not, But beyond that, it makes the film reek of insincerity. It makes the film seem like we are doing this as a cash grab. So yeah, in that way, I don't know. I just think Robert Zemeckis has had such a brilliant filmography, and he had a 20-year stretch where he was one of those guys where when he made a movie, you really paid attention. I just wonder if the passion is still there at this point. This movie feels so...
I think it is. It's just misguided. It's all poured into making these shitty animated movies. Like, do something else. You're so good in everything else you try to do. You're a good storyteller. Don't do this.
I would say his best course of action right now is make nothing that is adapted from previous source material.
Yes, that's it for sure.
Over the last 15, 20 years, it's just there's just a disconnect there. Do something original. Do something unique, even if it's smaller, because you look at his last few movies, The Witches, Christmas Carol. I think Welcome to Marwood, I believe, was based on a book. It's like you have such a creative voice, and you are bogging yourself down. So,
dude, go do another Castaway. If he wants to do another intimate movie, like there's 0 CG shots in that movie, like 1 or 2 maybe, but like do something like that. Do something intimate, refresh, get your like the juices reflowing, and then go do other things. You know what I mean? But just it's frustrating because it's just he's so obsessed doing these movies that are ass. Just do something else.
Also,
might be time to pull out Forrest Gump too.
Maybe. I was gonna say Contact too.
I think they just said like Hanks was mentioning like we talked about doing Forrest Gump 2, and that conversation lasted about 40 minutes and then never talked about it again.
Also, all the clocks were Disney references too. instead
Yeah,
of just,
that was so fucking weird.
It was
so does
odd
that
to
mean
me.
that they
I didn't- yeah.
exist within?
I didn't love that. That kind of. I mean, whatever. I won't hate on that too much because that is for kids watching it. Like I get that. Like that's a little thing. But also, then again, I watched like the clock scene, and the clocks were charming as they were in the original Pinocchio, and they wasn't fucking Woody and
Right.
Roger Rabbit smooching.
Dude, those kids were smashing those clocks.
That's it. Barbarian next week.
Yep.